Hi there. Welcome to Bible/Chat. Gus, hello. How are you?
John, we haven't seen each other in a long time.
It's been quite some time. And I actually got a filling today. Actually, I got a crown put on. And so half my face is numb. I can't even.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
You look a little
It
weird.
looked like somebody hit me in the head.
Yeah.
Good. We had
I thought it was normal.
Nice. Thank you. We had a question that came up. And
Is your favorite ham crown?
crown him with many crowns? It is actually. Yes. Okay, so we have a
Did you tell that joke to our dentist?
I didn't tell that joke to the dentist. No.
That would have been great.
Yeah, dang.
Anyway, sorry, I guess
no, it's good.
I'm stepping all over you
Speaking
today.
Of stories.
We lost a little bit of the rhythm.
The rhythm is lost. Yeah. It's
okay. Anyway, speaking of stories,
we have a story that you want to tell.
I want to tell a story, and I want your perspective. Kevin and I have talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
So it's a very tempting proposition when you go buy something.
Yeah. Or sell something.
Or sell something. And someone doesn't tell you that you need to lie to do something, but basically is willing to give you a benefit that is not true.
Right.
Like, if you're buying a car, maybe you're getting a better car, but it's written as a lower car, so you'll get a better deal. Or you want to buy a tire and just say you bought it here and you can get the tire half off. Which that actually happened to me.
Yeah.
And of course, when it's something that has to do with finances, it's very tempting, right? To feel like, well, I'm not necessarily lying myself.
Right.
The person who's lying is someone else. I'm just getting a benefit. And after all, like I need the money, right? All of us need a little break.
Yeah.
So there's that temptation there. So we've talked about this in the past, right? Not over video, but or podcast, but we did talk about so how do we respond biblically to something like that? Because all of us would agree, it's wrong, but the mind does something where we try to, we try to rationalize, sin. Well, it's not my sin. What am I going to do? Is him doing it? How should we think biblically about this?
Yeah. It's good. Just to put it in a nutshell, this is a good question. And it's incredibly complex because it can take on 100 forms. Yeah. Just to put it in a nutshell, we would say lying is wrong. There's never a time when lying is okay. So, for example, if someone says, hey, put down that you bought this car, but I'll actually give you this better car, and then it looks like a better deal, you pay lower taxes. Yeah. You can't do that. Because that would actually be lying. It's deceitful. You're lying about what happened. On the flip side, this actually happened to me not that long ago. We're selling an old car, and the guy said, "Hey, instead of this amount, write down this amount. My taxes will go down." And I was like, "Well, I can't do that." He was like, "Why can't you do that? Like, it doesn't hurt you at all. Just put a different number on there." And I'm like, "Well, I'm telling the government what you gave me, and it's not true.
Yeah.
So I can't do that." So that any of those forms are lying. You can't do that.
Okay, and it's also tempting for you to do it because you might lose the sale of the car, right?
Yeah.
So you might think, well, what's a big deal? It's just a number.
It's not a big deal. Yeah, I'm just getting a number.
But like you said, it is because you're lying, right?
I'm actually lying. And at that point, I've sinned, actually. The Bible's very clear. It says in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, speak truth to one another. It's very clear that we're not to lie. And so lying is wrong, and any form of lying is wrong. So tell them that you bought the tire here, you get half off. Your example. Or write down that you sold the car for less. That's obviously wrong. Write down that you bought a different car and I'll give you this car, and that way the numbers will work out better for you. That's wrong, right? Any of those things where you're actually being deceitful in what you're communicating, either to the person or to the government, is wrong. Even in the context of saving money, like money is not as important as your conscience and as your testimony for Christ.
Yeah.
So what do you do if someone asks you to do that? Well, I think long story short, you just say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't lie. You respond and say you can't lie. Is that okay to do that? Absolutely. Will you lose the sale potentially? Yeah. And is that okay? Yeah. Maybe. I mean, if it's a good enough deal, they're like, yeah, whatever, fine. But I mean, if you do, that's okay, right? Like God is in control of that, and he's the one who sovereignly brought that into your life. So don't fall prey to that temptation. There's another category of stuff here where it's like a little weird, and we have to maybe talk about that a little bit. That's like if someone says to you, this actually happened to me not that long ago as well. They said, oh, I can give it to you at this price, but if you pay cash, I'll give it to you at this price.
Yeah. That's happened to me not long ago too.
Now, I don't know why he did that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the purpose was. It might be credit card fees, might be various other things. I don't know why he would take a cash deal and give me a discount. Whatever the reason is, that's between him and the government.
Mhm.
If he offers a deal to me and says, hey, I'll give you this at this price if you bring me cash, and I bring him cash and he gives it to me at that price, I've not sinned at that point.
Yeah.
What he's going to do behind closed doors with his business and his money is between him and God. I can't give an answer for those things. The same is true of actually any transaction that we do. We don't know if someone's defrauding the government after we've given them money for whatever. You buy your Starbucks coffee, you don't know what happens behind closed doors at Starbucks. They might be defrauding the government. So it's not our responsibility to be the guardian over other people that we're doing this with, but it is our responsibility when it comes to us. So in that case, like, you can take the cash deal, it's fine. You want to be very cautious saying, what are you doing with that money then? Are you going to, like, why would you give me such a discount? You can ask that, but if they tell you, well, I'm actually not going to report this sale to the government. That way I don't have to pay taxes and I can give you a discount. Then you actually can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't do it because that person has just told you, I'm going to lie for you and save you this money. And you can't allow them to lie on your behalf either, because in effect, you're essentially lying once you know. So what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 is, eat whatever's sold in the marketplace without asking questions for conscience sake. In other words, what happens behind the closed doors with those people, that's between them and God. You don't have to worry about it. And your responsibility is just to do what's right before God for you. If you ask the question, or if someone says something, then you can't do it. You can't take that deal anymore.
Yeah. It's funny. We, having lived overseas, that was like a daily fare.
Yeah.
Us, right? Like people would come and do something in our apartment, or they would do something and they would tell me, hey, just pay me cash.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to report this. And I would tell them, no, you can't. I'd rather pay more for this. And they couldn't understand that. It was hard.
Totally.
But I think what you said before, and I want to attack two things. Number one is your conscience. But the other thing, and I think is even as important, not even more, but as important, is our greed.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want.
That's actually the core issue.
I think we're greedy, and we think, if I'm able to save $100 here,
hey, it's
who's the wiser?
Yeah.
Or like, wait, I didn't do anything. The guy's helping me out. A story that I heard not long ago of someone buying a car, and they just said, just write down that you got a different car, and it'll save money on your insurance.
Yeah.
That the temptation is to save money,
Yeah.
and not just to be thrifty, but that's greed.
Yeah.
Instead of just and that's what your conscience is worth, which I think that's something that we've talked about in the past with Kevin as well. Like, how much is your conscience worth?
Yeah.
Is it worth $100? Is it that important?
Totally. And in a sense, right, it's like your conscience is worth your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's much better to die than to sin. It's much better to have no money than to sin. Like, it's better for us to like literally give up our own life rather than violate our conscience before God and to sin by being deceitful in those situations. So you just have to smile and say, hey, I really can't do it. Now, I mean, if you lose the sale, then you have to trust, hey, God, you're sovereign over that. You could have had the guy still buy the car or sell me the tire or whatever. If that means I don't have the money to get the car fixed, then I don't have the money to get the car fixed. There's nothing I can do. You just have to open your hands and let God bring those things to you. But it's important for us to walk in righteousness and not to sin. So that's important.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story when I was living abroad. One of the guys that I worked with, he was selling his house, and his family was buying the house, and they were buying it cash.
Yeah.
And which is incredible.
Yeah.
But they told him, you need to tell them you got it for less.
Yeah.
And he was actually willing to lose that sale, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money, but his conscience was bothering him.
Yeah, of course.
But it was one of those things where, of course, people left thinking he was like ridiculous. Right?
Yeah.
But really, like, it was sin before the Lord.
Yeah.
Knowing that he was not going to be reporting to the government exactly what he got.
Totally.
Just to help someone else and to help himself as well. The greed aspect.
Which is honorable. Yeah, it's funny. I think in the U.S., because we are still like relatively Judeo-Christian, a lot of that stuff is extreme here. Yeah. But in other countries, I mean, the bribery culture, all those things is like extreme, and and as a believer, you really can't do those things. You can't lie and bypass the government and cheat. And I had this happen in another country. I got pulled over by a police officer, and he said, "You're your fine is X number of dollars. And I said, how is it that much? And he said, oh, it's this. This is how this works. You just give me the money. I'm like, well, can you like give me a receipt? And he was like, no, I can't give you a receipt. And I said, well,
What do you think I carry? Paper and pen?
yeah. And he was like, if you want a receipt, then give me your license. I'll give it back to you in 3 months. You won't be allowed to drive. And I said, that's what I have to do, but I'm going to have to find a way to get my car home, and you're going to have to help me with that. And the guy was like, forget it, get out of here, But he was trying to steal.
Yeah.
But again, that's not our responsibility. Yeah. Ultimately, what he does, even in his job, is between him and God.
Yeah.
But if he's telling me that he wants a bribe to get something done,
that won't happen.
I can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Anyway.
That's very helpful. Really.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I hope that's helpful for you as well. If you're selling a vehicle or buying a tire, you know how to respond. So hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions on this or any other topic, you can always email us at info@faithbibleoc.org. Thanks so much.